It was supposed to be a regular night. Drinks, laughter, a reunion nearly 2 years overdue. Just a group of old friends catching up in the comfort of suburbia. The sun had set about an hour ago, and with it, the last sense of normalcy. Carl had gone off to New York for law school. Big city, big dreams, big expectations. His dad's money had helped pave the way. Brenda, she stayed on the grind. Amazon deliveries, some warehouse, work, kept things moving while the world stood still. Richard and Tammy had stayed local. Kind of. They were still a thing, though. Rich went to school about 2 hours away. He made the drive often enough. But that night felt different. They were lounging in the living room, laughing, catching up, dipping toes in old drama without really diving in. There was a weird energy, an unspoken thing between Carl and Tammy. A glance here, a pause there. Nobody brought it up. Not before the knock. It came like thunder, hard and sudden. Carl stood first, curiosity in his stride. Maybe just a touch of bravado. He opened the door. There stood a tall, well-dressed man. Pale, thin, his cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass. His voice calm, too calm. He was a plainclothes officer. He pointed to the black car, idling across the street.
Evening there. Hate to break up your party, but your neighbors made a call down to the station, said they heard a scream. Wanted to see if you all had heard anything.
The group glancing at each other, confused. They hadn't heard a thing, just their own chatter, clinking glasses, maybe the hum of old arguments resurfacing, but no screams. That's when the night changed. Just music, drinks, old friends. Sorry if we were a little loud, Carl said.
No need to apologize, son. Just checking in is all, but mind if I step in for a minute?
Carl didn't move. The others were quiet, watching from the living room. And though he was smiling, Carl felt it. Like something in his spine didn't want to move. Didn't want to let him in. We're good, Carl said casually. You can ask from there. The man's smile twitched, just a bit.
Of course, no problem. No problem at all. Well, if you all hear anything, just give me a shout. I'll be around for a little.
The man tilted his head, reached into his coat, slowly, deliberately, and flashed something badge-shaped. Too fast to read, too fast to verify. Told him that his name was Officer Roger, and if they needed anything else, they could just go up to the car if he wasn't available at the time. Someone would talk to them. No one responded, and then he left without another word. And that's when they all felt it. That kind of silence that doesn't settle, it presses. And then he walked off. Not back to the car, just into the shadows beyond the doorway, vanishing, like he had only ever been a suggestion. When he had finally disappeared into the dark, Carl shut the door, but none of them reached for the lock. They just stood there for seconds, staring at the wood like it might knock again on its own. Then someone, probably Richard, broke the silence and muttered that was weird. And that was that. Back to the couch, back to drinks, trying to laugh a little louder than their nerves. But the weird lingered, like the taste of cheap beer. It didn't go away. They began questioning each other. Had any of them heard anything? A scream? Maybe the TV, maybe something. But the TV hadn't been on. They weren't watching anything. They simply muttered silently to themselves about what they thought it was. They sat quieter after that, eyes flicking towards windows, shadows like the night had suddenly grown teeth and was just waiting for someone to step outside. Still they tried, cracked another round, tried to slide back into something normal. But then Carl leaned forward, resting his arms on his knees. So, anyway, school's been alright. Real competitive though. Cold. Like, literally cold. Snows every other week. He chuckled, then shrugged. I've been thinking about coming back. That pulled everyone's attention. Carl nodded slowly. Yeah, it's just... New York's cool, but it's lonely. I miss the food. I miss the people. I miss you guys. He glanced at Tammy. She didn't say anything, but the look she gave him, subtle. But for him, it said everything. It was a look that only lasted a second. It said to him, "What are you trying to pull? Don't go digging up what we buried. Not tonight." Carl looked away first, took a sip of his beer, and smiled like he meant it. But the room never fully settled after that. Outside, somewhere far off, a dog started barking and didn't stop. An hour slipped by. The drinks had done their jobs. Chatter faded into lazy laughs and long silences. Everyone was stretched out now, comfortable, almost forgetting the strange man at the door. Almost. That's when Tammy's phone buzzed. She fumbled it off the armrest with a tired, slightly tipsy hello. Samantha, her next-door neighbor's voice came through the speakers.
Hey, you guys still up? Mind if I come by? I'm bored and nobody's home.
Tammy blinked and looked at the time. 11:17.
Sure, back door is unlocked. Just come in.
5 minutes later, a soft knock at the rear sliding door. Rich slid it open. Samantha strolled in. Hoodie pulled half over her head. Ponytail a little messy. She waved, grabbed one of the beers from the kitchen counter without asking, like she always did, and flopped down onto the nearest empty seat.
What's up, everybody?
But before anyone could answer her, she said something else.
Hey, Tammy. Is your dad walking around outside or something?
What do you mean, Sam?
Yeah, I saw him on my way up. Looked like he was pacing around the garage. Kinda weird, but hey, your dad, not mine.
My dad is in Asheville with my mom. They left this morning and won't be back till Sunday.
The silence came back, sharp this time. Everyone's eyes turned towards the windows, towards the backyard. Someone muted the music without even thinking. Then, a noise. Like someone was circling the house. It was soft, slow, deliberate. Samantha's brow furrowed now. The energy shifted. Brenda, who had mostly been quiet up till now, finally spoke, in a panic.
What the hell is going on tonight?
But nobody had an answer. The laughter was gone, the cold was back, and someone was outside. Tammy moved toward the back door, her steps slower now, more cautious. The chill wasn't from the AC. Through the glass, past the soft glow of the patio light, she saw it. Something. No. Someone. Kneeling. Back turned. Just behind the garage. Half shrouded in shadow. She squinted. Her breath caught. It was moving. Not like pacing. Like feeding. She heard it then. Wet. Guttural. Like something tearing into raw meat. Tammy's hand shook as she reached up and yanked the curtains closed. She didn't say a word as she backed away. Her face must have said enough. The room turned on her. They didn't know what to ask. But then finally, Brenda asked,
What did you see, Tammy?
without another word. She responded, explaining exactly what she thought she saw. And the room grew quiet again. No one wanted to ask anything else. And finally, Rich spoke up. I'm calling the cops. I'm tired of this shit. For a moment, their voices began to overlap. Fear turned into arguments. Carl started talking about going out and checking on whatever was out there. Everyone tried to argue with him to stay inside. But no one asked the question that mattered the most. What exactly had been screaming earlier that night? And more importantly, what had answered it? Soon Rich was dialing on his phone. And after a short while, he got a response.
911, what is your emergency?
Hi there. I think someone is in our backyard. We heard something, and then we saw a guy back there, crouched by our garage.
Could you clarify your address, sir?
278 Willow Woods Drive. And there's a plainclothes officer here. Said he was investigating screams in the neighborhood.
I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have any plainclothes officers on duty and no officers in your area.
What? No, he showed us a badge. He said he was just doing rounds.
I can assure you, sir, none of our officers are in the area, and no reports of a scream or noise complaint. I'll dispatch officers for a wellness check. You all stay inside and wait for them.
The phone went silent, leaving only their breathing in the room, too loud, too exposed. Brenda sat down, jaw tight. They had decided to discuss what all they knew. That the officer outside wasn't an officer at all. In the stillness, another sound crept in, a low, dragging shuffle, coming from the back of the house, as if something or someone was testing each step of wood, summoning courage to come closer. They all froze, no more words, only the scraping, deliberate, and coming closer. The tension in the room was a living thing, thick, restless, curling around their throats. Every sound made them jump. Every shadow was suspect. Then, blue and red lights spilled into the living room. Through the front curtains, a cruiser pulled up to the curb. "They're here," said Rich. Two uniformed officers stepped up, one older, stern-eyed, the other younger, eyes scanning everything. "Evening, folks. Got a call from dispatch saying that you guys had an intruder or something in your backyard. Me and my partner are here to go ahead and check that out. I'm Officer Daniels, this is Officer Ramirez. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you saw? The group inside started describing to the officers what they had saw, what they had heard, the interaction with the would-be officer. And after a bit, he stopped them. The two officers split up. Officer Daniels was going into the back, while Officer Ramirez stayed with the group, asking more questions, eyes sharp, trained on every word, every twitch. To try to calm them down, as they asked and panicked, he went ahead and raised his hands, trying to calm the group. Don't worry, guys. He's got it. We've done this 100 times before. It'll probably be nothing. Likely some homeless guy or somebody hopped up on drugs. Don't worry about it. From then on, no one said a word. Not right away. Brenda suddenly didn't want her beer anymore. Tammy sat down, slowly, eyes wide. And Carl glanced at the front window, to the street, where the supposed plainclothes officer's car should have been. It was gone. For a while, the house was quiet. But nobody went back to laughing. Nobody cracked open another beer. Because now they weren't sure what they let get close. They weren't sure it was done. Officer Ramirez stood there in the doorway, waiting. But even now, he looked a little bit antsy. He leaned over to his radio. Officer Daniels, report. Daniels, come in. A few moments later, there was a loud, resounding staccato of gunfire. Oh, hell no. You all stay here. Lock the door. I'll be back. Quickly, Officer Ramirez drew his firearm and moved behind the house. The group stood, dumbfounded. They didn't know what to do until Rich finally got up, moved to the door, closed, and locked it. He looked at the rest of them, terror in his eyes, but they didn't exchange any words. They watched through the window as Officer Ramirez circled around the side of the house, flashlight bobbing in the dark. Then he disappeared behind the garage. And the group were now completely alone. Minutes ticked by, each one heavier than the last. Brenda chewed at her nails. Tammy stood, clutching at a bat she'd gotten from the hall closet. Carl stared at the floor, then the window, then back again. Then the loud pop, pop. 2 more shots, louder this time. Then, hard knocking at the back door. Let me in! Let me in! It's Ramirez! Let me in! Rich and Samantha rushed over, unlocking the door. Officer Ramirez stumbled in, bleeding. His uniform was torn, shoulders soaked with blood, face scratched up, eyes wide and frantic. Carl asked, "What the hell happened, man?" Ramirez, still clutching at his shoulder, responded, I don't know. I don't know. Something came at me. It got Daniels. It just tore into him. Jesus Christ. Quickly, moving over to the corner, he tried to check his wound. I think I hit it. Thing didn't go down, just ran off fast. Could have been a crackhead. Hopped up on something. I've seen crazies, but this This was... He shook his head, steadying himself.
You're bleeding bad. We need to call someone.
Samantha chimed, worried. No one wanted to say what they were all thinking, because it hadn't looked like a man out there behind the garage. But before anyone could say anything else, before anything could be done, another knock came. This time from the front door again. And a voice chimed. Care to let me in this time? I won't bite, I promise.